Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, the USC commitment sweatshirt. I mean, it basically is just staying on at this point. Comes back on Wednesday afternoon. Three-star wide receiver Kohen Brown from the state of Texas committing to USC. Now, where do we start with Kohen Brown? Well, that's a very easy question to answer. This kid's a 10.69 kid in the 100-meter dash, and that speed that we see with the track and field metrics very clearly translates to the football field on Friday nights. And what stands out to me about Kohen Brown is sometimes I think we put too much stock into the track and field metrics, and we don't always make sure that that track and field speed translates to the football field. I mean, there are some guys that run really fast in the track and field, but don't necessarily translate that to the football field. Kohen Brown ain't one of those guys. This is a guy that when you turn on the film from Friday nights down there in the state of Texas, you see that elite speed and verticality brought to the table. And I think the second thing that makes you really like Kohen Brown, I mean, three-star prospect. I know USC likes this kid a lot more than that. Why do you ask? I think one, it starts with the elite speed. This is a guy that's been highly productive down in the state of Texas playing 6A football. Now, that's some of the best high school football that you are going to see across the country coming off a junior year where he caught for over 1,000 yards. So he has that physical trait that you really like, and that is the elite long speed. But this is also a guy that has backed up that speed on the football field and produced at a high level at one of the best leagues across the country, the high school ranks. When you check those two boxes, that should excite a lot of USC fans in terms of what you're getting with Kohen Brown. This ain't the first time that USC has dipped their toes into the state of Texas and gone and brought out a burner, right? Tanook Hines last class as well in 2025. He goes 10-5. USC is trying to really load up with some high-end speed in this wide receiver room. Big fan of that. Now, I want to get into a little bit more of Kohen Brown's game where, yes, it starts with how fast this kid is, but there's a lot of other aspects to his game that you like a lot as well. Before we get into it, as always, the USC fans, appreciate you guys. It's nice to be back in the studio, back with the USC commitment sweatshirt on. It's been so freaking fun talking this program, and the amount of support y'all have been showing the boys has been amazing. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into it. I think we have to start with this, that we're seeing USC, and Chad Bowden promised us this. You know, a couple of weeks ago, he said, hey, we're going to bring in the biggest class USC has seen in 2026. He is sure as heck on his way to doing that. You got 19 commitments. It's April 2nd. And again, what feels different about this year as opposed to last is USC started playing defense last year. There ain't no defense about how USC is going about their business in 2026. It is full court press, attack mode. We're not looking to hold on to our number one class. We're looking to build that class over the next couple of weeks and months. And that's kind of what you're seeing USC do. Now, I want to get into Kohen Brown. You know, kind of an under the radar prospect, 3 stars next to his name. When you turn on the film, there's a couple of things that stand out. The verticality that he brings, not only with the straight line speed, but the ball skills and the ball tracking. You know, that's something that oftentimes is missed. With some of these guys who have elite track and field times, they might be really, really fast. When it comes to bringing that verticality to the football field, how well can you go up and make plays when that football is in the air? You see Kohen Brown have not only the vertical speed, but the ball skills to back that up as well, the tracking ability. You see some tempo in his routes, especially working from the slot. Like, he knows when to sit it down in zone coverage, be presentable to the quarterback. I think that's something that makes Mekhi Lemon so great for USC. You see some aspects of that with Kohen Brown as well. He's a tough kid too. And you're going to see it a couple of times on the film, not only when he has the football in his hands, but he will attack the middle of the field from that slot wide receiver position, and he'll be tough over the middle of the field, which I think is really important when you get to the collegiate ranks, and he has some yards after the catch ability, especially with that straight line speed. If you are a safety and you take a bad angle on Kohen Brown, you are going to pay for it, and you're not going to pay for it for just 20-yard gain. And it's going 80 to the house if you take a bad angle on Kohen Brown. Explosive plays are one of, if not the most important metric to an offense. Lincoln Riley historically has been really good at dialing up explosive plays, hence some of the best offenses we've seen at the college football level. Kohen Brown's going to help you do that. getting into a little bit of the film, it's really fun to watch because he's not just a track and field guy that has a helmet on. He's a football player with track and field speed. That's kind of how I'd say it. I mean, you start with just the verticality he brings. You can move him around. You'll see him work from the slot. You'll see him work from the boundary. Really comfortable tracking the ball. Again, when you're chasing him, you ain't catching him. It's probably the best way to say it with a guy like Kohen Brown. You continue to work through it. This is the tempo I'm kind of talking about here. Working from the slot. Hey, we know to throttle it down here, be presentable. We got a safety out of the screen right here. We got to throttle it down, be presentable to the quarterback, give that quarterback that easy target, and then when it's time to go make something happen with the football in our hands, let's go do it. I mean, you see this safety, bad angle here. You take a bad angle, you're going to pay for it. I'm not really sure what this boundary cornerback's doing. He's just walking backwards, wants no piece of Kohen Brown. And we're off to the races. All the things you want to see from a wide receiver here. Continuing to work through the film, you continue to see this is tough as nails type stuff, right? You see a lot of wide receivers, at times a guy like Zachariah Branch, when you're working the middle of the field, kind of have those crocodile arms. And you're a little bit nervous about catching the football over the middle of the field. And although he's not going to take a massive hit right here, you see a lot of wide receivers not really extend over the middle of the field because they kind of fear contact. Kohen Brown's a fearless receiver. He is not afraid to go up and make a play over the middle of the field. You see the hands as well, which is very impressive. Then we're running away from the defense. Continuing to work through it. I believe the next rep you see some separation. We're going to create some separation and then go be an am. He ain't the biggest wide receiver, right? 5'11", $175, probably dripping wet. We're going to be competitive after the catch. Competitive. That's probably the best word I'd use for that play. You want your wide receivers to have a little bit of that, I would say maybe dog in them. You see it. Ball in his hands, he's electric. Really good feel when he has the football in his hands. Really good feel to be a playmaker. And you see this program, they go out of their way to get him the football. Again, you see a little bit of physicality, competitiveness, all the things you like to see from a wide receiver that's probably going to operate in the slot. Really nice pickup, I think, for USC on the outside. Now you look at this 2026 cycle, it's starting to fill up. This is the 19th commitment. It's only April 2nd. Where does USC go at the wide receiver position? I think is a very interesting conversation. You got three guys locked in, right? Trent Mosley's probably my favorite wide receiver. He's the most highly ranked as well. Baker, Kohen Brown, guys that you like. Again, USC would not be taking these commitments, even if they're just 3 stars. They ain't taking these commitments this early if they don't like these kids a lot. I promise you that these wide receivers, although only 3 stars next to their name, Chad Savage, Lincoln Riley, they like these guys a lot. Where does USC go throughout the rest of the pass catcher class? Van Spafford, I think, is probably the most intriguing wide receiver on the board, and we'll kind of see where that goes over the summer. Caden Dixon-Wyatt from Mater Dei, and USC's been building some serious momentum with Mater Dei as a guy that I like. That's a box checker, big body, really good ball skills, can work on the boundary, can work in the slot. If I'm a USC fan, what do I want the most? I'll take one of those wide receivers that's still remaining on the board, whether it's Caden, whether it's Vance, like them both. Mark Bowman. Mark Bowman, yes, he's listed as a tight end, is going to provide as much value, at least in my opinion, as any wide receiver that you can bring into this 2025 or 2026 class. That's how I view Mark Bowman. And so to me, it's like I still want to go get some of these blue chipper receivers, specifically in the state of California. I'm prioritizing Mark Bowman because I think he's a guy that can bring just a different level of juice at the tight end position than we see across the country. It's very rare to have tight ends that you can run your passing attack through. You saw it last year with Michigan and Colson Loveland. You saw it at Georgia with a guy like Brock Bowers. Mark Bowman, to me, is one of those kind of tight ends. You get him, you feel great about your pass catcher unit going into the 2026 class. We'll see where USC goes next. We got plenty of names that seemingly are ready to pop at any moment right now. We'll continue to break them down as they come in. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.